Coming to you from Music City, Nashville, Tennessee, this is the Quinn Spinn. Hey now, and welcome once again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, one and all, to a brand new edition of the Quinn Spinn. I'm your host, Quinn. I'm back here on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Stitcher, YouTube, and more for another rousing and riveting installment of the official podcast of Underground Music Collective. You just heard Revel 9's All I've Become, our opening theme song. It's been that way since the great year of 2014, and it will be until the very end of days, and I'm very excited for today's show. Speaking of going back, I go way back with this guest. It's Gr3ys0n, who just released Identity Crisis Part 4, Hero Saga. He's a nerdcore hip-hop artist based in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and if you know our history here at the Quinn Spinn, as well as Underground Music Collective, you know that before Underground Music Collective was Lehigh Valley Underground, based in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. So that's where I met Matt, and he's been crushing it for 10 years. He's had the chance to perform alongside the likes of Gr3ys0n and other giants of the nerdcore genre, and he keeps working, and we talk a lot about that work. We talk a lot about the creative process, the journey of it, and what it means to do something that's greater than yourself. And so he's doing that. He's a great example of what it means to really stick this out and see through a vision. I'm super excited about this episode, and I'm about to bring it to you right now. All right, everyone. Back here on the Quinn Spinn. I'm very excited about this. I'll explain what the graphic is behind me in just a moment for those who are uninitiated. But before I do that, I want to welcome Gr3ys0n to the show. Gr3ys0n is a nerdcore hip-hop artist and just incredibly creative, passionate, driven individual. Very happy to have him on the show again. This is actually the third appearance, but the first of this Nashville run, and he's got a new album out right now, Identity Crisis Part 4, Hero Saga, just dropped Monday. Gr3ys0n, it's good to have you again, man. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, it's very, very humbling and very exciting to be back to interview with you. It's been a few years, and I missed you, honestly.
Yeah, I miss you too, man.
yeah, man. Yeah. But yeah, where do I start?
Well, let's start with the three standard questions, because I haven't asked you those in a few years. Yeah. So, and we're gonna have some new listeners here. So, who are you? What are your passions, and why on earth would you want to come on the Quinn Spinn again?
Okay, so who am I? I am the gamer, not a gangster, known as Gr3ys0n. For those who remember the Lehigh Valley underground days, I used to go by Maverick the Roninn. Then I changed my name to NyteXing, and then I kind of went into transition to be Gr3ys0n. I will not change it again, I promise. As to what is my passion, I like to create content according to things that I like and love and care about. It's kind of a by-proxy of therapy for myself, but also a good way to start any conversation with anybody that likes the same interests. I've lucky enough to be around for about 10 years doing music. So I've gotten to meet a lot of wonderful people like yourself, including. Why I'm on the Quinn Spinn again, it has been a very long time. A lot has happened, and I think it's a very good platform if anybody to talk to, it's you. That I would love to talk about it with.
Yeah, I appreciate that. This has been a long time coming. It's been way too long. And yes, you mentioned Lehigh Valley Underground. That is the logo behind me. That was, for those who don't know, Underground Music Collective. Before it was Underground Music Collective, we were based in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, and we were a regional publication. Occasionally, we take some submissions from outside of the area. And Gr3ys0n, back in the Maverick the Roninn days, we worked together on a number of shows and reviews, and you were on the show a couple times. And since then, just like seeing your growth has been so exciting, seeing all the new opportunities and all the new connections you've been able to make in your career. But before we get into all of that, including the new album, for those who don't know you, take them back a little bit through the formative experiences, the formative influences, what led you to this path of creativity, and what inspires you to create at your core?
So, to go back, when I was like, because I'm originally from Brooklyn, New York, and then I moved to Bethlehem when I was like 13, 14. But when I was in New York, my older brother and his friends, they had a rap group called Hump Squad. It was an all acronym. I don't know all the words. It's been a few years. But at the time I wanted to rap with them because, I wanted to be with them and whatever, and I didn't get a chance to. So in and out of possibilities of going to rap at my teenage years and growing up into near 20s, stuff just happened where I couldn't record. I never got to learn how to write. So then one day, I got hit up by Mugga Beats. That's my cousin. He hit me up. Hey, you want to play this game? Da-da-da. Yeah, I'll come over. It was the summertime. I was 22. I beat them. It was Injustice we was playing, and I beat them with Nightwing, ironically. And he's like, "What else you want to do?" I'm like, "I want to make a song." Because he was in the studio, and he's like, "Yo, let's do it." And then we made the first song, doing my thing, and that kind of started up the whole journey of Gamer Not a Gangster. Because Gamer Not a Gangster, the brand, and why I say I'm the Gamer Not a Gangster is because that's my very first bar that I ever recorded. I'm the Gamer Not a Gangster that just happened to rap with the rappers on TV who just happened to trap. Like, that was the very first thing I got to record that I written. So I went with that, and I made No Masters, the first project I made. Then I made Gamers Interlude. Then I just kept going on forth making side missions, which side missions is like a project I did with collabing with other people every track. And then I kept going with the sequels, dropping singles, meeting Mega Ran, meeting Richie Branson, meeting anybody from the NPCC collective, joining Otaku Gang, meeting people that I call brothers now and sisters, going to conventions, then eventually getting booked for those same conventions. What inspires me to create is the love of it. I love hip hop. I love rapping. I love what I rap about, which is nerdy content and stuff like that, and life too. I implement both, as well as now. I have a family. I have my twins. I have my they have their two older brothers. I have Tyrell. He's 12. Devontae, he just turned 5 2 weeks ago. And I have Gr3ys0n and Abel. That's the twins. So, and I have my girlfriend. So, me being successful has a little bit more pressure to it, but I enjoy the pressure because I feel like I'm at that plateau where I'm going to get to that place where I can make a living. And if I make a living, I'm at home, I can work, and I can take care of the family and keep going with that. And then it keeps me at peace. Like I said, music is therapy for me. I get to unload a lot of things when I perform and when I rap and when I make music. So, yeah. And the things that inspired me that started off originally, I could say my brother and his friends, Mega Ran, Richie Branson, people that used to rap about the stuff that I liked and wish I had more of that. It would make me look at myself when I made music and say, this is what I want out in the world. I want to create that, and I create that.
Well, you're doing a phenomenal job, and certainly the writing has encapsulated, and intertwined all these different themes, from your interests, from, the comics, video games, animation, all these references tied into all these verses about life and your journey. And that, I think, really comes through well on the new album. And you mentioned since the last time we did this, you've become a father. And I want to dive a little deeper into fatherhood and how that shaped your perspective and how that's impacted your approach to your creative goals, because it is, it's a huge responsibility. It's one of those things that, like, it adds a lot to your plate, and to be able to show up and be your best self as a father, but also your best self as a creative, as a professional. Like, how do you bring all of that together, and how does one inform the other?
It's, so when I found out I was having twins, that was the initial indicator of me changing my name. Because, like, from Maverick to Nightwing, I wanted to be more introspective in my life as I made music instead of just rapping. And Nightwing was more to Gr3ys0n, oh, this is serious. Because I always said in my career, in the back of my head, if I was going to have kids, I'm going to stop. Because I didn't want that to interfere with me being a father.
Mm-hmm.
But through family, my girlfriend, everyone saying, no, don't do that. You're doing really well. We believe in you. Kind of put me in a perspective of, well, if everyone's believing me and telling me that I can keep going, I'm going to do the best I can to keep going. And so when I found out I was having my kids, I wanted to keep going. And the first track that I made to announce that I was changing my name, announce I was having kids, was called Twins. And I made a song about my excitement of being a father. It's available everywhere on my Bandcamp streaming sites if you want to look that up. But I made a song about my excitement of talking to them about me being ready to be a father for them. As for the creative process and making sure everything gets done, I can't say it's easy. It's a little difficult adjusting because they're actually growing. It seems like they're growing at a rapid rate sometimes, because I look back and be like, you used to be this small and now you're this big. And you walk and you backflip off the couch. But other times it's like, because they're my sons, they understand it. Because like there was a time I had a show on Twitch for Gaku Overdrive. Shout out to you guys. They're stationed in Florida. We had a Twitch show and I had Grayson in my arm, and by the show was done, he was asleep. So he was so comfortable in that element, he was knocked out. Which probably helped because I took their mom to a show in MagFest when they were in her stomach and she was pregnant. But that could be it too. But it's like I have to be more I don't know if divisive is the word. I gotta be more selective with the moves that I make. I have to make sure that it's actually worth me going outside for, because every single moment that I do be around the kids, it's not a detriment, but it's like I don't want to be going somewhere for nothing.
Right.
Like for no reason, no benefit at all. I can't just be doing it just to do it like that, because it's kind of like, well, I could be spending time with the kids. I could be watching TV with the kids. I could be watching Cars 1, 2, and 3. Watching anime with the kids. I could be hanging out with them, playing with them. So when I go do these shows, it has to be something to come back for, whether it's monetary, whether it's something that could build up something for the next thing. That way it works out. It has to be for something, because luckily I have a very good partner that she supports me and helps me out when there are situations where I have to go to a convention, and she watches them for the weekend. And that's a lot, because she's watching essentially 3 to 4 boys on the whole entire weekend by herself, but she handles that like a boss. And it's like, yeah, it's because of that, because of the people that support me, because of the people that I met through the journey, like yourself. Just like I just had an interview before with Aoxus, and other people that support me either by bringing my name up to other people to get me situations that help out my brand, and help me out. People that just have a casual conversation saying, yo, this dude is pretty dope. Gr3ys0n is pretty nice. Or, I love that Dragon Ball chain around us. It's just anybody that gives me any positive energy or any attention at all that they didn't have to. I do it for them as well. I do it for everybody. I do it for myself, because I don't want that to be a waste. It's like Goku getting a spirit bomb. What? Imagine he gets a spirit bomb and he misses. Like, what? Like, oh, that sucks. But nah, that's how I feel. It's like I gotta go hard and go ham and do everything that I can, that when that time comes, when I do end, when I finish, when I say I'm done, I'm cool, I want to be 100% satisfied. I don't want to have any regrets. So I put my all, as much as I can, into it.
Yeah. And just a couple things, as I heard you say all of that, I think first the important point is moving forward with purpose and finding opportunities that have a purpose behind them. And I think when we all start out, right, we'll just say yes to anything, right? We will say yes to absolutely anything. It's like, ooh, this is going to put me on the map. That's going to put me on the map. And really, you come to realize that everything's just a little step forward. Everything's got a lesson within it. But over time, you've been in this 10 years. I've been in it almost 10 years. Like, you start to pick and choose based on previous experience, based on what you think will be the more meaningful opportunity that'll help advance the platform. There's no just doing things just to do them, especially when you have a family, especially when you have all these different responsibilities. Like, you and I aren't in our 20s anymore.
Yeah, it's not the same. Like, when you hit your funny bone that don't heal up. Like, and that's the thing too. It's like, I get all my years because like hip hop has a thing where it's ages. So they'll tell you like, "Oh, you too old." I'm like, "Yo, I'm just 32. What are you talking about?" Like, there's people that are 50 still doing this and do this better than you. So really, what are you talking about? So I keep going, but it's also like I get tired. There's times like I really be at a spot and it's like, all right, this is the situation I'm doing it for, but I could sleep. I could sleep and be okay. And it's like, I got to make sure that every move is worth it. That way, later on, I could sleep. Later on, I could, without having to feel the anxiety of, I feel like I need to work more. Right. I have that, not even as an issue. It's a thing where I don't record in a certain amount of time, like a few weeks, maybe a month. I'd be like I gotta do something. I gotta write. I'll have something to write. I need a verse. I need to do something. I need to record, because it just feels like overdue homework, but the homework that I want to do, so
yeah, there is always that itch to create that drives us forward, and I think like counterbalancing that with like not jumping the gun on just any opportunity is an interesting point to come to, because like you and I think are at similar levels where they're like, there's definitely a next level up and a next level up, that we want to get to, but like there's enough established and there's enough history to know what works and what doesn't, which is a very powerful place to be, because that's where I feel it starts to all come together. And I think too, like you having a family, like I have my nieces and nephew back home. I don't have any kids of my own, but like, I think we're uniquely positioned to like show them like, hey, there's a different way. There's something else. You don't have to just get a 9-to-5 and just, not have an outlet and not be satisfied with what you're putting into the world. Like there's a way to make this all work together. And it's not for the faint of heart. It's difficult. I mean, me being 800 miles away, I miss a lot, back home, but it's like, there's still this opportunity to show the kids, that, hey, you can go out and create whatever this is, whatever your version of this is, you can go out and create it and like give them that blueprint. And it's such a powerful place to be. I know in my family, like I'm the first person to leave the Northeast. I'm the first person to just take that kind of leap, and it's terrifying, but at the end of the day, you just kind of come back to remembering what you do it for. You remember that like it gets to a point, where it's just bigger than you. There's so much more, and there's so much more that it touches. And so you want to make sure you're doing the right thing and that you're doing everything to the best of your ability. So ultimately you can come back around to give more. Right. I that's something that, is definitely real for me as I get older, 35 now, like, it's definitely not just, I'm going to start a blog and see where it goes. It's like, everything's got to, like, you get to a point
where it got to make sense.
Yeah. It's got to have intention behind it. And yeah.
Cause it's like a lot of, that's the other side too. Cause especially in entertainment, there's always someone trying to play you out. So you got to look out for that as you go along, because they'll take all the energy and all that to benefit themselves and leave you stranded. And as you get older, you don't have time to be left stranded for nothing. Like in my early 20s, I had situations where I got screwed over, but I just learned that way I could tell other people through music, through conversations, through anything, that it's like, be careful of this, be wary of that, look out for this. You can do this, but make sure, like, calculate, do the math. That way, you get the best out of it, and not only with the monetary. Like sometimes it ain't already monetary. Sometimes it's just for the networking process of itself that can lead to something bigger later. It's stuff like that.
Right. But having that sense of, knowing when to watch your back too. And I think, and protect your energy. I have become a huge proponent over the past 2 years in particular of, you've got to protect your energy, not just in a professional sense, but in a personal sense.
In life, yeah.
If people are coming in bringing bad energy, deriding your goals or otherwise just being a distraction, a negative distraction, you've got to limit your exposure, and it's not to be rude. It's not to, it's not to be antagonistic, but it's so you can continue to show up the best for yourself. So your cup's full, right? That's something that's become so huge for me, is like making sure my cup's full. So I have something to pour, because if you don't have anything to pour, it's just going to burn you out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where you start to forget why you're doing it. And that's where you start to, those thoughts start to creep in of, should I still be on this track? Why am I still doing this? Like, we've all been there,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of it has to do with the energy around us. In my experience, I don't know if you've experienced it.
I definitely had those. Because like, there's been times, like work overtime comes in. So I do work and I do this, and I go, take care of the kids, take them to school, watch them during the day, go back to work. It's like, it's a cycle. So sometimes it's like I'm in situations like, it's like, all right, I know I got to do this. I just got to sit down, but I could take this time to take a nap. I could take this hour to take a nap. Is this person really trying to look out for me, or they're just trying to come up off of my name? And those decisions is also why I make certain decisions. Like now, as to where when we talked before, I didn't have a feature price. I didn't have a definite feature price if I was asked. Now I have a feature price. Now I do sales. Why? Because it's like my time that I take out of my day to do that, the time I take to put my kids to take a nap, to go downstairs, instead of napping with them, because we cuddle and it feels great and it's nice and it's warm. We all lay in a certain way. It's like a puzzle that just fits. Instead of me doing that, I go downstairs and write this verse, or I'm writing a verse at work, and then going home and recording that before I take my 5-year-old to school, and then sending it off and putting in Google links and make sure it's anyone to get the link to make sure everything works. And then to come to find out that the production of it just comes out crappy and my name's attached to it now. So it's like, all right, like, it's stuff like that. Cause like, to speak on the album, every single song was written during the breaks at my job. Maybe one was written at home.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I normally do like 8-hour days, but some days, throughout the year, it could be mandatory for like months, and it'll be like 10-hour days, and sometimes it gets tiring, but it's good money. And as I'm on break, lunch, 15 minutes, I'm typing, listening to the beat, going back over it, making sure the flow is fluid, making sure what I'm saying is cool, make sure I don't say the same things I said in the past, because I want to make sure I keep coming in with fresh things, because there are new experiences that I deal with. But I also know that because I make so much music that I could repeat myself, So as you heard the album, I honestly, I could ask you, but it's like, I can tell, like, all right, I brought something different to the table than what you remember me, what I used to do.
Yeah. And that's a good jumping off point to get a little deeper into that. First of all, it continues your tradition of releasing new music on your birthday every year.
Mm-hmm.
October 10th is always the day you can expect something new from Gr3ys0n. One thing that really left an impression on me is it's probably the most autobiographical, that of your releases. And there's a certain wisdom that is present here from being 10 years in, so that's definitely something that I noticed, that's something new that you've brought to the table. And I want to give you a chance to dive a little deeper into the themes here on the album, that creative process. You spent a lot of your time writing these songs on break, at work, but then how did it come together in the studio to be the finished product that we hear before us?
Well, because of the fact of, let me explain the whole, like that is called Identity Crisis Part 4. So obviously, because there's a Part 4, that means there were 3 other parts. So last year, I made up the idea. I actually made up the idea over a joke that a friend of mine, VST, we're in a Joker Collective together. And he's with Otaku Gang as well. We made a joke because of the name changes that I've done. And he's like, "Damn, you going through identity crisis or something?" And I was like, I guess." And it kind of spawned on me where back when COVID was happening, and I was having the kids the same year, and I was listening to a lot of beats and production, but just to listen as a fan and like dive in, because like I know a lot of producers through the years that I've been working and made a good rapport with them, their friends, family, and stuff like that. And so I listen to YouTube, and they've been making music longer than 10 years. And I'm like, yo, this beat is crazy. No one ever used this. Yo, this beat tape is nasty. All right, I want to kind of do. And it spawned on me. I'm like, all right, this is what I want to do with this person. So the first one was called M80, because M80 was my original name, alias, when I was just freestyling and wanting to rap. That was the name that could have came out, right? So like if anytime someone wants to go back into my old projects, you might see a song called M80 Interlude or this, and you might be, why is it called that? Because M80 was my original name. So I made a project with Rozzy K called M80. If any, I guess the recent promotion that you might have seen was SF2, because I did a little AMV for Street Fighter. It's Street Fighter 2, so I called it SF2. So that project, he's a producer that's out of New York. I think he's in Albany. He's also a lawyer. He wears a lot of hats. Good dude, very tall. But because I met him in Mag this year. But basically we did that project. He already had beats. He had a beat tape, and I was like, I want to use these selected beats. Is it cool? He said, yeah, I trust you. You dope. Kill it. Got you. Wrote the songs to him. Got the features I wanted to get for him. Got them done. Made that. Put that out, or planned to put that out. Because I did the thing where Identity Crisis coming out this month. Then the next one, the next month. Then the third one is on October 10th. That was last year. So I did M80. And then with Maverick, I worked with Natsu Fuji, who I've worked with a lot as well. And the reason I picked him for production for Maverick was off the fact that when I was Maverick and coming up, his name in production was one of the reasons why my name became what it became as Maverick the Roninn. And I got to make a few songs. I guess the most recent thing would be called the song I made, Bruce Wayne. I made a song about Batman, of course. So it was pretty cool. And I got to have a lot of fun with that, going back into older beats that he made. Today, well, the 9th was his birthday. So he dropped the project the day before that for Street Fighter 6. He made a beat tape. I'm probably gonna work on that too because I love Street Fighter. And then for Nightwing's representation, I made a project called Back to Bloodhaven for those who know me as Nightwing.
Right, yeah.
The original project was called Welcome to Bloodhaven. So I made Back to Bloodhaven. And those tracks were produced by Louis Pierre Beats. He was the producer for the song I perform a lot called Player One. So I did the whole project with him. And I think all the songs, there was like 7 songs on all those, maybe 6 or 7. I think one of them might have had 8. I don't know. But I did those on purpose to be like, all right, so these are the entities that I was and who I was as a person, but it was me rapping in those styles, but also with the experience that I've gained. So the Maverick project didn't sound like No Masters 2 Maverick. It sounded like if Maverick was here in 2022. So I was rapping my ass off and sounding clear, not stuttering. The hooks was good, very, very good hooks and catchy, but it was also different and abstract enough for like I had a song called Otaku. I had stuff like that, but with the same energy. M80 was a whole concept of if I never left Brooklyn and I started rapping, I would be M80. And this is the project that it would be, the sound would be of. And then Back to Bloodhaven was basically a sequel to honor Welcome to Bloodhaven, because I feel like it's still one of my biggest projects. And that went really well. I made songs like Nightwing Forever. That's the last video I dropped, official music video that I did at a game gallery in Easton. And then I also dropped a song, on the project, there's a song called Cosplaying Slay. which, I made a little ballad song for cosplayers, because I always wanted to do that. So now we get to part 4, where the whole production is made by Gage, who is a producer I always work with, almost on every project. And he is the first producer on the internet wise that gave me a beat and gave me a chance when I started out. So I wanted to make something with him. We both have a very high respect for each other, and we always wanted to do a project, and now we finally got the chance to. So he sent me, he said, yo, look on whatever beat you want, just let me know. And I looked, I found the ones I wanted. I had more, but for what I made in the time frame, I was good with what I got. And I was writing, because my process now is especially with the beats that I pick, my head is in, all right, what the hook gonna sound like real quick, because I know where the hook's gonna be. Oh, let me do this verse. All right, what am I saying initially, automatically, as I'm hearing this beat? What am I saying? Okay, this is the energy I want to be on. So, like, let's say for the road, the beat that was made was originally, like, he did a mix of something that Jay-Z's lyrics was on. Like, he did the beat over a Jay-Z song. And I like Jay-Z a lot. So I was like, all right, I want to have that energy into it. So that's why the hook is in that format of, like, you put my whole soul, but it's also like congruent to what I've been dealing with and doing as an artist throughout all these years. Speaking on that, and the reason the album, is so introspective and autobiographical at this point is because of the fact being that it's a full circle for great, because it's me now. It's the identity crisis of who I am now and what I think about, how I feel.
Right.
And this year alone, there's a lot of things that have happened because, or the last 2 years, 2020 until now, I've worked with Lehigh Valley Be Free and got to do that, which that became something so much more than what I thought it was going to be, because I thought it was just going to be a song, and I did what I did, and I did the best that I could. And next thing I know, I'm on the news locally and talking about it and being featured, and it's staying on the website, not just some 2-month thing and it's gone. No, it's still there. And doing a show with them at Touchstone, which, in full circle, Touchstone was the first place I did a show at when I started the Star City Showcase. So it's like, wow, this is crazy. Then, I got MagFest this year for Main Stage, which was the goal for my entire career so far. So now I have another goal. But basically, I got to do that. And then in that same weekend, I had my set. Then the next day, I got to be on stage with Gr3ys0n, who is the first nerdcore artist I ever heard of, and is the reason why I kind of do this stuff. And I'm on stage with him rapping to one of the songs that the original song is him and Richie Branson. And Richie Branson is someone that got me into Otaku Gang, and now I lead Otaku Gang. And that it's like everything kind of goes full circle with everything. So as I'm making this project, I'm thinking about everything good that's happening. I'm also thinking about everything that's negative that happened, because I have to expel that and talk on it, because that's what I do. I don't hide anything. So, I had falling outs, and I speak on it a little bit briefly, but not too much, because I didn't want to give the attention to that guy, because he's doing everything to get what he wants of that. But, I wanted to be honest in this project. I want people to feel what I'm saying and feel how I feel, because I feel like the production brings that out of anybody that is good at rapping like that. I think those type of beats are for those. It's like, you can rap your ass off if you want to, but you have to talk about something. It needs to be substance. I feel like his beats have souls in them, and I think mine's came together and it made a fusion, and it became the project.
And I have to say, just hearing all of this background, just, having these, references to previous projects, like, you've almost got your own multiverse happening here, in a lot of ways. Like, you have all these different versions of yourself that come into this, and all these different experiences along the way that have shaped who, like, there's a serious lineage to everything that now Gr3ys0n is, right? And, I think, you know, we share a lot of parallels because without the Quinn Spinn, there'd be no Lehigh Valley Underground. Without Lehigh Valley Underground, there'd be no UMC. And now there's National Live. Like there's all these little things that come from this point of singularity, right? And you never know that all this is going to happen. You don't know how it's going to happen when you start. But now, you know, being 10 years in and having a chance to look back on your journey and see like where it all started from. It started from those days when you were a teenager freestyling. And now here you are on the main stage of MagFest, you know, rapping with Gr3ys0n, like having all these opportunities locally, having all these opportunities elsewhere. It's amazing to see like that point of singularity and all the different versions, like the storyline that this is all followed for you over the past decade. And I think one track that does a really good job of capturing that is Rounds, because it's retrospective. You know, you have, I think that's a TED talk, that excerpt of talking about, you know, talking about growth mindset. And it leads into this track where you're really able to revisit those early days and the revelations and what they've made you. So if you have anything more to say about the revelations that you've had, you know, and how those come out in Rounds, I mean, it really seems like one of those, you know,
with Rounds is like, it's definitely one of my favorite tracks because especially for what I do to it. Y'all gotta hear it when it comes out to understand what I say. Because I did something with the hook that I normally wouldn't do. And I was like reaching a new level of artistry that I was trying to get to. I think I achieved it, but not perfect, not like as perfection. I don't believe in perfection, but like it's always gonna be better. But it's really good for like Maverick, NyteXing wouldn't have been able to do that. So looking at it as like, yeah, this is something that Gr3ys0n does and can do well. So that part is also like just thinking about, you know, just like the starting bar, like instead of talking about my haters, let me talk about my supporters, because there's a lot of times I've realized that I was always talking about the negative people that always kept me down and doubted me. But I'm like, let me talk about the supporters. Y'all are important. You know what I mean? Like that, like, because it seems like such a simple bar, but it's like, no, it's very important to me because really it's like when I go and I do these things and I go across the country or I drive or I get a ride for 2 hours or you know, take a bus, go down a block, wherever. I go to Easy Money and rap for what is it? First Friday.
Yep.
Yeah. You know, like anything home base. It's because of the fact of my supporters. It's because of the fact that when I post something online and someone likes it and it's just one like, I don't even care. It's stuff like that pushes me. And when it came to Rounds, it's like it's also reflecting and revelations of the fact of like why these things are happening now and where they come from, because a lot of people forget why these things are happening, and that's why they fall out with other people. Where me, I'm very reflective. Like I always remind my people, yo, you know this is your fault, and they're like, what? No, this is you. Like, no, I like you put me in a position that I had to prove you right, but this is you. You know, like this. Don't let you think that I forgot. Like, no, this is because you put my name out there. This is because you let me on this track. This is because you let me on this stage. This is because you gave me the opportunity and opened the door for me. This is because you opened the door by doing you. By proxy, you help me get into a position. You know, so it's like Rounds is a track at the same time of me saying I'm still here, I'm still going, I'm still strong, and I'm getting better even now. It's also a thank you to everybody, you know, to you, to everybody that's ever helped me out, everyone that's ever given me a chance. Because honestly, you could just, everyone could say, no, I don't have the time. Everybody could say, I want to take a nap. I gotta go to sleep. I gotta go eat. I gotta go do something else. But instead, they gave me opportunity and they seen the potential in me. So I wanted to, you know, with that beat, of course, too, it put me in that mode while at work. Because it's always humbling writing the songs at work because everyone at my job knows what I do. Because they figured it out. It was a kind of a funny story. So I caught COVID near the end of the year, but I healed up in time and I went back to work. and I was cool. But then I had to go to Mag. So then I went to Mag because I already had a shot and everything. So it didn't even last as long, but it did suck for that day. But basically, and then all of them noticed, hey yo, where's Matt? Why is he not here the rest of the week? Oh, he had to go to the show. What show? And then they're seeing it because it was live on Twitch. And people are sharing it because everyone's kind of like, yo, this dude is here. And they follow me on Facebook and they're like, whoa, what do you mean? Whoa, what's this? Yo, he's in front of thousands of people. Like literally my boss mentioned it when I got employee of the month later that month. He's like, oh, and aside of him doing a good job at work, he's actually a professional artist and rapped in front of thousands of people. I'm over here like, what? I'm like, what? Your boss is here. Like, what are we talking about? And they're like, yo, really? Whoa, that's crazy. And it's like very humbling at the same time. It's like everybody that wants to see me do well, I have to do well because of the fact that they want that from me. The fact that they believe that I can do well. And, it's like the ending bar, like thanks to NPCC, Mega Ran, IQ, Richie Branson, D&D Sluggers, Kadesh Flow, Subzilla, Samus, the list can go on. The Nerdy People of Color Collective that opened the doors for me to be in the court and be able to make the moves that I do now. Is always humbling because they had to go through the bullshit that I don't have to go through. I go through my own, but not as hard as what they had to deal with. And, and then it didn't say make music for all of you. That's what gives me peace, because it gives me peace. It's very, because these songs, any songs that I made in the past and present, or songs that I go back to on those days that is really, really tough. I'm not even going to lie to you. Because last week was really, really tough. It's like, oh man, this fridge isn't working. Okay, gotta get a guy to fix it. Oh, my heat's not turning on. Gotta get a guy to check that out. Oh, he just pressed a button. Oh, 75 for a button. All right, cool. Oh, I'm doing a show. Oh, artists are not sending the emails that we gave 2 months ago and kept telling them to send the email. Now they want to tell me the day of they're going to be. It's like back to back to back to back to back to back to back. Oh, I got to go to work. Back to back to back to back to back. Oh, no, I'm tired. Hey, but you know what? My album about to drop. I'm about to do this video. It's about to be my birthday. I got to keep my spirits up. And one of the things that keep my spirits up, aside from my family, aside from everyone that's always helping me, is the fact that I get to put music out in the first place, because the origin of it is I wasn't able to before because they wouldn't let me. Now I do whatever I want. So, yeah,
having that support system, I just keep thinking support system, whether it's people who have given you opportunities, whether it's the people at work, whether it's your family, like it goes back to that thing about energy, right? And letting the good energy in and acknowledging that, giving that the shine, that we don't always give it, because I think part of human nature is to focus on the bad, right? To focus on the negative that comes in. And we really have to train our minds not to do that. But that's the thing, is like, we all need to give each other a chance here, because we're all trying to do this. We're all, part of this rising tide that must raise all boats, right? I keep coming back to that idea on the show here and just in my own life, because it's the truth. Like, the more we help each other, the more we support each other, the further we're going to go. And you have an amazing support system that, you've cultivated over a decade, and even before then, of people who are invested in what you're doing, right back, and it's this amazing exchange that takes place after a while. Those of us who stick this out, like we have that, we always have that to lean back on. We always have these memories, these conversations when things do get hard, the communities that we've built. I was just up there, for Music Fest and everything up in Bethlehem. And like, you want to talk about a cup filling experience, being there, sticking around in Jersey for the second half of the month, seeing my niece, taking my niece to Barnes and Noble, like stuff like that, just to like remind you what you do it for, because it has to be bigger than you. Like, you can start it, for reasons of passion or, whatever, for personal reasons. But ultimately, if you're going to continue, it's got to become about something bigger than you. And it's exciting to see, like, from our first interview, I think that might've been like 2016, maybe 2017 to now, like the growth in the mindset, and in, your reasons why, your reasons for doing it. It's inspiring, and just such an incredible place to have seen you come to, and I'm super excited for, everything to come. Of course, there will be, I'm sure, more Star City showcases. You just had one
Absolutely.
last weekend. And for those unfamiliar, this is a regional showcase up there in the Lehigh Valley in Eastern Pennsylvania, giving some of the region's top hip hop artists a chance to perform. And this is something that you started and you've been doing for years now. So tell us a little bit about the concept and why it's important to build community.
Well, Star City Showcase is also 10 years as well, because I did it the first year I was rapping. It started because I didn't know who to go to about a show. I didn't know who to talk to. I didn't know where to go, who to contact, who to email. I didn't know none of that. So I got my income tax money. It was February. I got my income tax money. I paid Touchstone, and I did it March 1st. March 1st. And I got acts like Devin Haley, 1000, Lotto Lex. He goes by Lotto Lex now, but he was Tigger back in the day in the Hurt. I had a group called High Velocity, myself. I had a few very, very good acts that some stop, but some are still dope at what they're doing musically. They're still going in different ways. And STAR is an acronym for Strictly Talented at Rapping. But as you know, it's also the metaphor for the Bethlehem Star, because it started out in Bethlehem. I wanted to say Star City because it's like that. And what I realized is like, all right, I got to do this more often to make sure. I want to give the opportunity for other artists that might not be in the in crowd, might not be the most popular, but still dope to perform. And it helped meet a lot of amazing people. It helped cultivate some of the greatest nights of my life. And it also was cool because I will always do it on my birthday weekend, either before or after as well. So there's always going to be one in October. And then during the year, I kind of like see if it could be in March, May, stuff like that. Did I do this 3 times? No, I'm thinking about it like technically, because I did. Yeah, okay, that's fine. I was thinking about it. Part of me felt like I did it 3 times, but I didn't. I just did it one late summer, but I wasn't sure if I did it in March anyway, because I gotta check. I do so many shows. But it's like it's a good experience, a good learning experience. It's a good time to practice as well. Like for one artist, her name is Miss Ill or Irrelevant. She's from Reading. She returned into rapping this year, and she's actually open for Styles P she's opening for Styles P on the 15th. I gotta get the dates right. So her performing at my showcase, she did a very, very good job, but she's also like, all right, this is my limitations of what I can do. This is what I can and can't do. This is what the crowd likes. All right, this is what I gotta expect, because what I'm spitting, people really like. And she had a nice ass Temptations line. She like, no one's here to see Otis. I'm on my David Ruffin, which everyone knows the iconic line. Like David Ruffin's like, no one's here to see you, Otis, and it's mad funny. So it's like her saying that line is like, yo, that was crazy. And she's a really dope spitter. Seeing Stevie Franks from Jersey come down and perform his songs from Project Gotham, which I'm on as well. And then me performing songs, because now I'm so experienced at it. I know it sounds cocky as hell, but I'm so experienced at it. Like, there's a part of me is like, yo, if we got extra time, I could do 2 different sets. And my DJ was like, nah, yeah, you could. I'm like, yeah, we'll see. And we're like, let's leave the cushion just in case. And that just in case helped out a lot, But, it's like also because I'm the promoter and the organizer of a show, but I'm also an artist still. So I still have the competitivism. So it's like, yeah, I get to be up next to these amazing artists. There was a few times I had Mickey Fax host the showcase. Maybe I plan to do, another big artist to host it, depending on how everything goes. But I wanted to keep the tradition of that going on because I feel like there's always gonna. I want to be one of the platforms that always has an opportunity and open doors for someone to perform, just in case they don't know who to talk to, or they don't go to a certain studio where they decide to do a show for the people that pay you to go to that studio, or they go to something that is actually established, like it's been going on for at least a very long time. They don't know there's 10 years. No one ever knows it's 10 years. But at least they know that it's been going on a long time. They heard about it. They know about it. So they could be a part of something that everyone else has done. Like Devin Haley, he's been, because back when he was out here, he was out here. Now he's up in Cali on TV for Grown Up, not Grown Up Hip Hop. Is it Grown Up Hip Hop? Or I think it's Grown Up Hip Hop. He's on that because he's the son of KC from KC and JoJo.
Yeah.
And, other artists that has been a part of my show has been doing a lot better things and grown in their business and stuff like that. And I'm just happy that I had the opportunity to see them rock out on a stage for something that I created, even if they don't remember, I remember, and that's cool with me.
Yeah. And you're providing people opportunities while also leading by example and going out and finding your own opportunities, not only locally, but elsewhere. We touched on MagFest, getting to share the stage with Gr3ys0n, like all these conventions, all these opportunities to spread what you do and this whole body of work, all over the country, all over the place, and I am curious, from your experience of going out and lining up those opportunities and building those relationships, if you have any lessons to impart upon other artists who are looking to branch themselves out, who are looking to find those opportunities, what lessons, what advice would you give an artist who's looking to attain that level of success, that level of relevance, to where they're finding similar opportunities for themselves?
Okay, so because this is also funny with the album, that's probably the next context of things I would say, or maybe the next few albums I would do, is learning how to answer this question the best way possible. So the first thing is to put 100%, if not more, into everything that you're doing. And what I mean by that, I mean promotion, I mean your internet presence, I mean your music, I mean your production, your quality, as much as possible. I mean, when you're performing, no matter if there's no one in the room, no matter if it's a bunch of ghosts and Casper and his little cousins that are assholes, if it's a room full of kids, do your due diligence, but make sure you are performing at the octane that you would perform for if there was thousands of people in front of you, because when it is that situation comes up, you're going to have to do that. Like you work out. So when you lifting things all the time, when you finally pick up a fridge by yourself, it's because you're so used to lifting those things up. So a lot of people want to get those opportunities where it's so big right away, but it's like, do you know what to do in those situations? No, how can you? You don't get that situation all the time. Right. So if you're so used to doing half-ass on these situations, and then you get this big situation, you might do a little bit more than half, but that doesn't mean you're going to go 100. You're going to go 60 because you're not used to doing 100% all the time. And the reason of doing what I'm saying to do 100%, don't do it 100% for anyone else but yourself. You have to do it because you want to do it. Otherwise, it's going to grow resentment and hatred and doubt and a lot of negative feelings that you do not need. And eventually it will cause an incursion in your life. And also, when it comes to opportunities, talking to people, everybody is human, no matter what position they are in life. I have met Johnny Young Bosch at one point and took a picture with him, and he's the Black Ranger. I've watched this man beat putties up when I was 5, and I met him at the time. I met Xavier Woods, took a picture with him.
Love Xavier Woods. Love.
Yes.
Woods. Yeah, I would love to meet that guy. Everything he puts out, like everything that guy touches is gold.
Yes.
Everything.
I met him. And he was in a skate outfit. He was dressed up as Skate from Streets of Rage. I was like, yo, can I get a picture? He's big as hell. And I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And then Gr3ys0n, K Murdoch was in the picture too, and it was like amazing. It was dope. My nephew was raving about it, like, what, you met? Oh my God. He loves wrestling. And I I got to perform with Gr3ys0n. That's someone I was listening to when I was 21 before I was doing rap. And he made black material. I always tell him this too. I'm like, you dude, like for 10 years I was listening to you. Like you are the first person I ever heard rap an entire album about a video game that I love. And I didn't even get to beat the game. To this day, I never beat 7. I know the ending of 7. I never beat it though. I just knew the ending. But I knew the ending even more in the context because of what he did and what he created. And I got to be on stage with him. All these opportunities led and started from low key from him and everything else that I was going with. And one of the reasons that I've gotten into the position I gotten into is because I asked questions and I was humble. Like, don't let your ego mess your situation up. Don't think you're so big that you expect things to happen. You have to make things happen. Then you can act whatever way you want when you have that. Like what we was talking about, we're in that position where we gotta make the right moves because of our families and stuff. But that's because we came up and worked that hard. So we got the right to make those decisions. But you have to know your value. And people always say you got to know your value. But the thing about that statement is you have to know where you at realistically. You have to know that if you are worth getting a certain amount, then you have to work and show that you work that certain amount. But if you are not, you have to work to get to that value. And also, you have to know you can't just do everything for free if you bring in this many people, because then you're not getting what you deserve.
Yeah.
And that all takes in work. That all takes in humbleness. That all takes in being self-reflective and being real with yourself. Don't let this internet, and ironically, we're doing it on Zoom, but that's because he's in Texas, I'm in Bethlehem. But it's like, don't let the internet fool you with these algorithms that everything can be controlled. They made an AI rapper and he had 1 million followers in a day. Everyone's like, wow, that's crazy. No, they made that. You can type in the number saying 1 million followers, and that's what happened. That doesn't mean it's real people. That doesn't mean people really care. Now people care because that's the whole perception thing. Oh, he has a lot of followers, so I should be following him. And let me see what he's doing. Oh, he's kind of funny. He looks like this. He looks like a cartoon that I used to watch back in the day, some familiarity. Let me do this. Oh, and he also raps like this person, which I think this is what hip hop is. And then come to find out, that's what they see it. So it's like a lot of things you gotta really look out for the real and fake, especially the newer artists that are coming out today. I really implore that because of the fact being that it's happening more often where they're trying to fake you out to like somebody. And it also goes into performances. That's why I like performing, because you see me for who I am on that stage. And when I'm on that stage, I'm Gr3ys0n, and I go crazy, and I do the best that I can for everybody.
And I think, so many good points there. And thank you for that. I mean, I think you've got a TED Talk in you. I really do. I think
one day.
But like, one day, hey, I want to do one too one day. But like, there's no such thing as overnight success, number one. And I think, so many of us, this was me when I started, I was like, oh, we'll be on Sirius XM in 6 months. Nope. No, you have to go through it. Honestly, you got to suck in the beginning because that's how you get better. Like you've got to go through it and you've got to learn these lessons early that you can then apply later on. But did you learn the lesson? Because if you didn't learn anything from it, you're only going to repeat it over and over until you either quit or finally learn the lesson. Also relationships, everything, and like you said, everybody's a human being. And that means that everybody, is looking for connection above all else at their core. People don't just want to be the utility for, helping you get from point A to point B. You have to build meaningful, actual relationships, friendships. Here in Nashville, you become friends with people before you work with them. Like you become part of the community before you start doing work in that community. And I think that is really just a microcosm for how this whole industry, how any creative industry works in general. If you pay enough attention to like entertainers over time, the ones that really last are the ones that have the strongest relationships, the ones that keep putting in that work, the ones who are relentlessly creative and who learn the lessons and evolve, right? Like all of these things you're saying can be, I think, wrapped up, into that idea of like, how do you endure? This is how you endure, but you only you only learn that from doing it. And you only learn that a lot of the times from trying things the wrong way or having the wrong expectations, early on, but, as someone who's weathered a lot of storms, you have that to impart upon us. And I thank you for doing it, because I think, a lot of folks, you just need that reminder, if nothing else, once in a while. It's like, hey, this is a process. There's no such thing as overnight. I mean, you think of Lizzo, who, early in her career was living out of her car, negative bank balance, eating fast food every night. Now she's one of the biggest stars on the planet. You think of somebody like Oprah, who was fired from a TV job, for what was it, like not having the personality to be on TV, and now she's one of the all-time greats in any form of media. You ask anybody, they know who Oprah Winfrey is. Like, Logic is another one who was broke, in Maryland, when he was college age, and now like he's a hip hop artist, he's an author, like, he can just pick and choose what he wants to pick up when he wants to do it. But it comes from just going through that process of, what, I don't know much, but I'm going to figure it out, and I'm going to stay humble, and I'm going to build the right relationships, and I'm going to show up as the best version of myself that I know how to be, which hopefully over time continues to get better and better and better, if you're growing.
I believe it will.
Yeah. Yeah. And, and that's the thing, like, that's what having a growth mindset is, right? Is believing that there's another level of growth out there for you, and doing what you need to do to show up and attain that, and I commend you for doing that. It's really, this has been really inspiring for me, this whole conversation, just to, see your journey. And we are coming up on time, but before we wrap, I do, of course, want to give a look at the future. Now that the album's out, upcoming performances, what else you're working on? What can we expect on the horizon here?
Well, on the 15th of October, I will be opening it up for Gr3ys0n and MC Frontalot on their tour, the Octopus tour. Octoberpuss tour. It's so crazy, this name. But I'm opening it up for them in Brooklyn. I have it all on social media platforms. I definitely will be promoting it, if not already, everywhere, preparing for the show, because this is like a part 2 of my birthday gift, because I made sure I got to perform in that, because it's like Brooklyn's home, open it up for Rand, get the rap for MC Frontalot, who I've only met once before, so get reminded, family might be coming out in Brooklyn, friends might be coming out. It's gonna be a good time. I'm also going to be performing the weekend of November 3rd to 6th. I will be performing at J1Con in Atlantic City at the Showboat. That will be a spectacular, fun day. We get to be on the boardwalk. Hopefully it's not too cold. If so, we'll just be in a convention playing games, hanging out, and it's gonna be a good show, because it's gonna be me, Hajoka Collective, Otaku Gang. We're all gonna be in there. Heroes for Hire. It's gonna be a very, very good event. As for after that, I don't really know yet, but I definitely will be at MagFest as just going. Like, I don't have any performances as far as I know, but I will be going there to be there in Maryland to hang out and be with my people that I don't really get to see throughout the year, because we're all in different places of the country. There'll definitely be another Star City showcase next year. I don't know what specific season, but more than likely probably in the summer maybe. And I have a little plan of what to do with that one, as of what artists I want to bring apart. And in the meantime, in October, the 15th, the album dropped the 10th, and on the 15th, I have a video. I have AMVs I drop every 2 weeks normally for October, because we call it Droptober. I'm dropping every week. So, the last 2 weeks I dropped the videos, and all of them are brand new songs. Like the first one in the month was Never Stop Being Great, which is a Gohan a song for Gohan, because the movie recently came out, and Gohan's my favorite Saiyan. I made that song, is really dope. And then the week after, I did a song for Escanor from Seven Deadly Sins. It's called What's Beef, because the hook was spawned off of Notorious B.I.G. song. Just a little flip of what he does. If you ever watch Seven Deadly Sins, you know who Escanor is. And then this one on the 15th I will drop is called Heroic Trio, which is a My Hero Academia song that I did with Darnell Bradley and Professor Kudo. They're both reactors on YouTube, but they're also impeccable artists. They've gotten a lot better, and I see their growth. And we kind of like joined together to do this amazing song. I think will be one of my best. And for the last week of the month, or last 2 weeks, it could be up in the air. It could be a cipher. Because I have a DC Titan cipher for the show Titans, because I heard it's coming out this month or maybe next month. Hopefully next month, because then I'll have time to, if it's not done by then, I can have it out before and then have that ready. And I have an anime boxing cipher. I think I'm gonna call it Champions or Heavyweights. I'm still on the fence of what the title will be, but the cipher is done, and it's a cipher that is comprised of artists like Omega Sparks and Swats. That's Game Breaks. Okamura, which is Master and Elder. Professor Kudo, Darnell Bradley's on it. I'm on it. Johnny Five, the philosopher from Poundtown, PA, is on it. Jalopy Bungus, which he's from Arizona, is on it. I feel like I'm missing somebody. I'm bugging out. But it's a lot of people. And it's produced by Jay Hits. And basically the concept of that cipher is every boxing person that's in the anime. So Asuma, Ippo from Hajime no Ippo. I picked Jiminy Crockett from G Gundam. My boy Johnny Five was Hit from Dragon Ball Z. You know, so everybody had a boxing character from an anime. It got to rap circles and orbit. It's really dope. So those are in production. Those two are in productions of videos now, and they'll probably get done by the time it'll be out by this month. And then after the month's over, I'll start doing a 2-week thing again. But you'll always get content from me at least every 2 weeks on my YouTube. And, you know, I'm working on my next project because now Hero Saga is done. I can work. I'm probably going to vicariously work on Side Missions 3 and Gamers Interlude 3 at the same time. Because Side Missions 3 is I got to get the features. So I'll get my stuff done quicker, and I'll probably send it out. And whenever they get done, I can get it back and see how many I want to do. And then I'll low-key work on Gamers Interlude 3, as well as they should be a project for the next year for Otaku Gang called OG's Alive, or Otaku Gang is Alive. One of those things where we're going to like kind of not rebrand, but kind of a reintroduction, because we had a lot of members, a lot of changes in the group. And we haven't really gotten as a group to put anything out for ourselves. So that will be out by next year.
So a lot to keep tabs on.
Hell yeah.
Always something happening. So where can people find it?
On Facebook, because finally, after so many years, I got to change my artist name on my artist page. And it took so long. Oh my God. All right. So on Facebook, you can look up Gr3ys0n. It's spelled Gr3ys0n, and you will find me. I think the link, if I think off top, www.facebook.com/Gr3ys0n, and you'll find me there. Everywhere else, Instagram and Twitter, I am Gr3ys0n, spelled Gr3ys0n. If you do not remember the 3 and the 0, you might be able to find me by Google, but the 3 and the 0 represents 30. That's when I changed my name. So if you remember that fact, you will always know that it's the 3 and the 0. And the fact that the 3 represents, this is the third time I changed my name, the third name that I have, and that's 0 is the no more that I'm doing. There's a lot of metaphors with it. And youtube.com/c/Gr3ys0n. If you put that way, you'll find my channel quicker. Because you know they always have those big old letters that spell doodle bob and whatever. Like, me, all that stuff. So that's a quicker way of finding me. Where you'll see the stockpile of videos that I always do. I do a lot of AMVs every 2 weeks, but I also try to do official music videos, as well as I'm putting more videos of me performing on YouTube as well in my shorts. I have a TikTok as well, same thing. You look up one, you'll find the other. Just gotta type in, and I got you. And more than likely, we'll have it in a link somewhere in this interview.
Yeah, it'll be linked, of course, in the show notes. So make sure you check that out as well. Pleasure to have you, sir. We'll do this again.
Hell yeah, definitely.
And this has been the Quinn Spinn, 2 N's and Quinn, 2 N's and Spin. You could hear us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Anchor, Stitcher, watch us on YouTube, and more channels. You can also learn more about the Quinn Spinn at Underground Music Collective. That is our central hub for all things independent music, creativity, and more. UndergroundMusicCollective.com, as well as on all the socials. Check out the UMC 20 playlist, which we update every Tuesday. This episode will end up there. The week after it premieres as a bonus track. Also, we'll have some tracks from the new album sneaking their way into the playlist this month. And NashLive.live. Don't have any shows quite yet announced, but I'm working on some. It has been a crazy busy time, also gearing up for 2023. So bear with me. We're announcing some stuff very soon. Got some really cool ideas, collaborations in the community here in Nashville. And, eventually maybe we'll take that thing on the road too. Not that I'm predicting the future or anything. Anyway, Revel 9's All I've Become has been our opening theme song since the great year 2014. Will be until the end of time. And it's going to also take us out just like it brought us in. And I'll see you next time. Hey now.